Welcome back to How to Pose. Today we have the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Super Superhero Piccolo. Man, that was a mouthful. There is no theme for this video. I think this video is going to be a lot shorter than the usual. We're only going to do 3 poses, but don't worry, I promise they'll all be awesome. But before we get into the posing, let's talk about the aesthetic. So when talking about the aesthetics of Piccolo here, one of the first things that jumped out at me was his size. Simply because he's just not quite the same size as any of my other Figuarts, which is good because he looks good next to the other Figuarts because of it. But it was just a weird thing for me seeing a Figuarts that's like this size, because it's like Marvel Legends size, but from the Figuarts line. You can see him here with a few other characters from the line. He's just a bit taller than Goku, but a very significant amount taller than Gohan. I think that works very well. But as you can see, he's still not even close to as tall as somebody like Cooler, who doesn't even fit in the frame. And here you can see him next to some recent Marvel Legends. As you can see, he's just about the same height as this Iron Man here. So yeah, when I picked him up, it just like, I was like, oh, this is different. Like, just the size of it in my hand, it felt more like one of these than one of these initially, just because of the size of it. But what I like about SH Figuarts is that usually they're of a much higher quality than Marvel Legends are. So I picked this guy up for about 35 bucks at Target. And for that price, I think you just get a lot here in terms of the look of the character. He looks really good. As you can see, it's a complete unique sculpt for this character, which is something you don't see a lot in Marvel Legends. And yes, they do have their fair share of reuse in SH Figuarts, but it always makes sense, I feel like, or most of the time it makes a lot of sense to reuse stuff when they reuse it, and there's enough new stuff going on. It keeps me happy, so I like this. It does have some problems with the articulation, which I'll get into later. I really like this green color that they used. I think that the purples look good as well. It's interesting though, on the top half, it's like more of like a matte finish, but then on the lower half, it's more of like, has more of a sheen to it. As you can see, the color of his little things are different than they had been done before. I believe that's to be accurate to the movie. I'm not going to look it up though. Maybe I'll throw an image on the screen of what he looks like in the movie. They changed his boots on this new version. You can see it right there. It's more rounded off rather than pointy. So if that's something that bothers you, something to note. His shoulders are pretty big and wide set. So I like that. It makes him look more beefy, which is really nice for Piccolo. Although I think his arms are probably a bit too skinny. I think they should probably add some more beef onto his arms. When it comes to his legs, I think that his like shin portions, this lower leg area, that seems just like a bit too short to me. It just kind of looks like stubby. This feels too long in comparison to this, I feel like. The thigh is supposed to be longer than the shin and the foot together, right? But I think this is too long. This kind of looks weird when you bend it. One thing I'm really not a fan of on these SH Figuarts figures is that on the butterfly joint, they never paint the inside of the joint the color of the clothes. They always paint it the color of the skin. And I don't think that makes any sense. This is clearly even sculpted to look like more clothing. So why is it green and not purple? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. The red band on his waist and the ones on his wrists look really good. I like that also on the torso you can see the little bit of like this type of thing on his stomach here. Here's a more close-up view of that. You can see it peeking out right there, just the top of it. But I think that's a cool little detail right there. At first I wasn't sure about the likeness to the character, but now that I've had some time to play around with it and look at it, I do think I actually do like the head sculpts quite a bit. You can also see on his arms, there's a lot of sculpt work right here with the skin, all the lines there. Looks really nice. But yeah, overall, I think he looks really good. I like the silhouette that this guy cuts, and yeah, he definitely looks like Piccolo, so not too bad. Okay, so this first pose is going to be really simple. It's just going to be a simple flight pose. So we're going to bend him at the diaphragm here upward and make sure his head's looking up, but careful not to pop that off. just like that. And then his arms, be careful how you move them because of this whole mechanism right here, making it look really, really ugly. I really hate how they did this butterfly joint. I don't think that's good at all. Look at how gappy that is. That looks really bad. I would say if you're gonna use it, you have to really pick and choose your angles, and if you don't want to have to do that, then don't use it. Now just slightly bend the elbows kind of inward, and it's like, you know, that kind of pose that they do in the show all the time when they're flying. And then this leg, I'm gonna bring this forward and just bend the knee like that. Maybe bend that one in a little bit too. And the other problem here, right, is that you're not gonna get much movement out of the ankles, which is a huge problem that this figure has. Because the ankle rockers, they just don't work that well. They're a bit hindered by the boot there, and it's not done very well. So you're not gonna get it to go all the way straight out, but just move it as far back as you can. You should be coming up with something like that, right? You can take it and put it on the flight stand. I'm gonna kind of open up his back to get the stand on, and just kind of like put my clamp inside. You just kind of have to finagle with it, like you'll see it the way I'm gonna have it in the next clip. But I'm not gonna sit here and mess with it on camera. But just know that's how I got him on the stand. And there's Piccolo in flight, looking pretty cool. They do so much flying in Dragon Ball Z, from place to place, whether it's in the Frieza saga or the Cell saga or whatever other saga. There's a lot of flying going on, so we definitely had to do this one. And there he is flying around with some of the other Z fighters, just in case you wanted to see that. That's looking pretty cool. And here it is from a lower angle. I like this one a lot. It kind of looks like they're like swooping down. And here it is more from like the right. And this I think might be the best angle. Catches Piccolo just the right light, I think. That looks really good. Yeah, I enjoy this quite a bit. All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so for this next one, since Dragon Ball is like obviously very martial arts inspired, we're gonna get him into a martial arts move, which is going to be kind of like a kick, or I guess it's more like a roundhouse kick, but it looks martial arts-esque. But please correct me if this is not actually a martial arts move, because I'm just a Dragon Ball Z fan. I don't actually know anything about martial arts. And for this pose, I'm gonna be using the like clenched teeth face for Piccolo. So first, with his legs, we're gonna spread them apart like this, and then we're gonna kind of lower this one back down, bend the ankle just a little bit right here, and then the torso we're gonna bend upwards, like kind of swivel and gonna bring up as well, so he's looking forward. Bring the head forward like this, right? We want him to be looking at where he's kicking at. And then the right arm, we're actually gonna move the elbow up like this, and then adjust the hand, kind of keep it out of the way of his face, but you kind of want it up like this, right? And the other arm we're gonna have extended like that, just bent a little bit. We're gonna slightly bring this leg forward, and then slight bend at the knee. You just want to try to get him to balance, and there you go. And there he is in like a roundhouse or like high kick type of pose. Yeah, I think he looks really cool in this. Again, this is kind of simple, but this is one of my favorite poses to put action figures in, just because it's fun to get them to balance. And here he is posed up with Super Boo, just in case you wanted to see him fighting an opponent. And here's the view from down below. This is looking pretty cool. I like the movement of this piece. Yeah, I think that looks really sick. The only problem is I just think that his hips look a little bit weird. Piccolo's do. There are some people that think that all SHF hips look weird, but I just think that Piccolo's here look particularly weird. Just kind of like a little bit wrong, but I don't know. It's not too big of a deal. All right, and there it is from kind of like a top-down view, and that's looking pretty sick as well there. I absolutely love that Super Boo figure. I got it loose for a pretty good price, but they look really cool together. Okay, so for this next pose, as you can see, we have the two-finger hand right here, and we're also using the yelling head as well. So first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to move the arm up this way so that we can hinge it outwards like this and have it be at straight 90 degrees. And then move the bicep swivel so that the bicep is facing inward. Move his head to look at where he's pointing. This leg we're going to move outwards and then swivel so that it's straight, and then bend down like this. The other leg is going to be slightly bent but more straight out, and since the ankle pivot is so bad, we can't really get him to stand on the flat of his foot. So it's just kind of going to be cocked like that, just using the side of his foot, which is so annoying, but that's how you're going to have to do it because this is the only way you can get him into a wider stance. And then for this arm, we're just going to kind of bring it in like this. And that kind of completes our look here. And here's Piccolo doing his special beam cannon, which I think looks absolutely awesome. And here's more of a close-up for you if you want to see that. Again, still looking really, really cool. Yeah, this is absolutely iconic. And here he is blasting the absolute hell out of Majin Buu. So that's pretty sick. Oh, there's a really nice shot right there. Like right under Majin Buu's arm. That looks really cool. His body kind of framing Piccolo there. That looks really dope. All right, let's move on to the next one. So as kind of like a little bonus pose here, right? I wanted to show you one last thing. As you can see for this, we're using both of the open palm hands. So for the legs, we're actually gonna get him in the exact same position that he was in for the last pose. So it should look something kind of like this, but this time we're gonna turn the torso this way, right? Head looking forward like this, and then both arms are gonna point inward. Kind of like this, kind of like he's doing like a Kamehameha wave or some other type of blast attack. I actually don't remember if Piccolo can do the Kamehameha wave or not, or if he has ever done it. I'm pretty sure he has. I mean, like, everybody and their mother has done the Kamehameha wave, let's be real. But yeah, then you get something kind of like this. And there's Piccolo doing a bit of a Kamehameha wave right there. And yeah, that looks really, really cool. Here it is from a little bit of a different angle there, looking super, super dynamic. I really, really like this one. This might actually be my favorite, to be honest. And again, I don't remember if Piccolo has ever done the Kamehameha wave or if he can do it or whatever, but regardless, I think this looks really, really good. So that's gonna bring this video on how to pose the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Super Superhero Piccolo to a close. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. I do really like this guy, although he does have some problems with the articulation, mainly the ankle joints that really bother me and kind of take some of the fun out of this figure. But ultimately, I do really like him as a display piece, as a Piccolo, and he is still pretty fun and fairly posable. So I think overall this is a pretty good release. However, there is some room for improvement. Yeah, those things kind of sucked the fun out of this a little bit for me and made me put the figure down a lot sooner than I would have if it was articulated a little bit better. If you enjoyed the video, please do leave a like. It really will help me out. I keep forgetting to say this in every video, but please go check out my Instagram. I'll have it displayed on the screen here for you, and I also leave a link in every video to it, so please go check that out. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.